So now I'm gonna try and do this gauge cluster LED conversion. So to take off the gauges, you just gotta use a T15 and a 7mm. This 7mm will take off like almost the whole interior, man. It's crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. So you're gonna start off taking these 4 corners off with the T15. And if yours all actually hold in, let me know in the comments, because that is freaking rare. Because mine, the only one that works, well, the only ones that work are these 3. This top right one up here, it just there for show. It's not holding anything. So my trim piece around here kind of like, it's like coming undone, because you know it's like 30 years old. So just make sure it's pushed in so it's not in the way of the trim bezel. And just be safe when you're taking this trim bezel off, because yes, like I just said, this stuff is old as hell and you don't want to mess it up. There we go. And honestly, I'm gonna see if this works. Oh, I'm gonna tilt my column too. See if that helps out a little bit. See if this works, but I might just leave it hanging. Like, honestly, I'm gonna leave mine hanging, so I have to mess around that brittle plastic. So go ahead and do that. And again, even for the AC controls, it's 7mm. Just gonna pull it out as much as you can. Right here, you're gonna see the little plug. Just gonna press it in. Press it in there, and then you're gonna pull it that way. Which is also, again, 7mm bolts. Show you a better view. Take off the 4 cluster bolts. There's one here, and the same thing with the other side. And it looks like I'm also gonna have to take off this vent. This vent right here. So mine only has one 7mm that holds it in. But I know there's some that have 2, so just undo both of those. Once you undo the bolts, you just pull it out. It's held in just with that bolt and then pressure from putting it inside the dash. So it connects to the other AC thing that goes through the dash. So last thing, we have to do this steering column cover. So we gotta undo it. It's also 7mm bolts. And the reason we're gonna undo it is because there's a square piece that connects to the column that shows where your shifter indicator is. So once you undo those 2 bolts, you just pull it this way. Just be careful, because these little pieces here, they like to break pretty easy too. Anything in these trucks likes to break, so just keep that in mind when you're taking these apart. It's also a good idea, what I'm gonna do is mark, because there's a hole in the middle. I'm gonna put a dot in there so I know where the indicator needs to go back to. All right, so I got a paint marker. Be careful not to get it in the truck anywhere or stain it. Just literally gonna put a dot. That's where I need to put it back to. That way I'm not having to guess, because I've had to do it in the past where I have to like guess where to put it when I shift it, and it's just a whole thing, and I'd rather not go through that anymore. Now you're gonna just take a flathead, press it off, because it legit just slides on and off. So just press it off, or push it off, I guess. This is how it's gonna look when I do it off. So pull this off straight backwards. Go ahead and do the shifter. Just lower it down so it's easier to pull out. There you go. So yeah, my pin looks weirder than yours because this dash is from like an 88 to 91 model, the one with the moon gauges. And it was the only one in the color that I could find that was cheap enough. So I just went ahead and cut this whole square out. We're gonna take this and the AC controls, we're gonna go open them up and see what we can do with them. All right, so if you're new around here, all this crap in here, I promise I'm not a hoarder. I actually resell stuff, mainly online, and then some stuff local, but like I have a bunch of center casts for sale, door panels, back trim pieces, clothing, stuff like that. So if you see this in the background, I promise I'm not a hoarder. I'm just a reseller. And to do that, you need a lot of space, so. All right, so I've never taken it completely apart. I tried to do an LED conversion. And the reason I'm swapping all this out is because that whole LED conversion, like they were really crappy lights. So now they're already like flickering and dying because it was completely white LEDs. But obviously the back of the gauge cluster is green from the factory. So yeah, it just looks terrible at night. It looks like a freaking club going on in there. So now I'm just gonna do that whole RGB light conversion thing. So I'm gonna have to take this piece off. This is just like a little leather piece. That should pop off. Okay. That scared me for a second. Hold on. Some crunching noises. So these corner ones, these two up top, these two down here. That should be it. Organized. I'm kind of a neat freak when it comes to parts. Honestly, I think you only have to take off these two corner ones. That's all that was holding it on. These two corner ones, and it looks like these bottom ones. But yeah, I'm also gonna try and polish this as much as I can. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take it back to the truck, turn it on, and turn it back off, and hopefully it resets all of the needles. And then I'm gonna mark them with tape where they're at, and then go from there. So I got them all marked up, so I can kind of see. So this one moved a little bit. So I plugged it up, turn the truck on, turn the truck off. Then I marked where they were with the Sharpie. And I'm just gonna take a fork. I wish I had trim tools. I'm just gonna pull it up, put them out to the side. Just gonna put it to the side. Just gonna try and go around it. See if I can get it kind of loose. I've never taken this apart before. Clip a little bit. I think I also have to disconnect this. Honestly, there shouldn't be anything else that's holding it back. I think it's just held on for pressure. I'm trying to do it evenly, so you see how I'm working my way around it? There it goes. Just a lot of pressure all over. There it is. This is how it looks. So clearly this is you can see it barely faintly, but you see the green parts? That's what we're getting rid of. And then it also looks legit like you're just gonna be peeling this back. Just try to be careful. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna work my way around it with the flathead. Just like that. Just try to get it off. Or at least separate it so then I can start sanding. And then I can get the LEDs going for the inside. So this is how I ended up looking after sanding for about an hour. I just sanded the RPMs, the speedo, then all the gauges up here that shows the oil pressure and all that stuff. I also went ahead and sanded the arrows because I'm gonna try and do LEDs right here. Just white LEDs, so they're pretty basic. Went ahead and got this all taken off too. You just have to unbolt it from back here. And what I used is I used paint thinner, and I had it on a Q-tip, and I just did it on the back. I scraped it away, and eventually it just came off. It's kind of tough though, because it does have like a film on it. So I did use a hook tool and kind of pried that film off first, and then I used the paint thinner, and then now it's clear. Is instead of having, because right here for the shift indicator, it has its own light. I'm thinking about drilling a couple holes, like probably right here and right here, depending how the LED comes out. I'll see first. If not, I might just put a white LED in that one too. But depending how the LED comes out, I might drill some holes just so some light shines through, and then lights this up a little bit. Alright, so I got y'all back in the baby shop. I'm gonna get y'all a really slow, in-depth review / look at this LED strip. Because I hate whenever they're showing you the LEDs being installed to a cluster. I have personally looked at 5, and they're like, this is how I installed it. And they put it in the car, and don't show anything in depth, and then, yeah. So basically, how I started it was, this is specifically for OBS clusters. I want to say 88 to 94, maybe it's like 92 to 94, whatever style gauge face this is. I routed it right here, so that's where it comes out of. And then I started at this bottom, or that's the other side of it. Started on the bottom. Then I legit just kept going till it stopped right here. Then I started my second row. So you get kind of the idea of it. And this is for the shifter indicator. So obviously I took the bulb out of that one too. But that's just to show you how I did it for the LEDs. And to solder them, I went ahead and, dang, I actually did pretty good. I just matched them up to the other side. Just try to stay clean with this. What I did was I put solder on there first. So I would put solder on there first, obviously with your soldering iron, and I would prep each one. This is just an example, but I cut them obviously copper exposed. Then I would solder those on each end, and then one by one, I would solder one to this side, solder one to the other side, solder one to this side, solder one to the other side. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm hoping, I haven't even tested it yet, but I'm hoping that it clears with all the motors for the gauges. Mainly worried about this side right here, because that's what I had issues with last time. I also went ahead and did do the turn signals as well. Just the turn signals. Yeah. So I did that. So whenever I have the turn signal, then it just blinks bright white. And then once I test fit it and I see where it's gonna be at, I'm gonna go ahead and brace these a little bit more. I'll just update y'all with how that's gonna look. All right, so this is how I ended up bracing it. Just have 2 on this one right here for the shift indicator. And then I ended up just doing, mine are kind of reversed. So my glue is on this side versus the plastic just being on the bottom. That's because it would go past this line if I did it the reverse way. So I'd rather just put the glue on there. And I have it on the corners because whenever the cluster is sitting like this, obviously gravity's gonna be pulling down those corners and up here also. So that's why I put it on the corners there. I just test fitted it right now, so I'm actually gonna put everything back on, put it in the truck, and then see how it is, see if my gauges are all aligned or if I gotta pop them off again. So I'm gonna do that right now, and then I'll meet y'all back in the truck. This is how it's looking now. Obviously you can see it's going based off of my voice because it changes the LED colors based off the music, but Yeah, on the previous, I'll probably insert it, but I actually had an issue with the other LED kit, and it was a 5 volt, and clearly that was the wrong voltage that I needed. So I'm gonna go ahead, I just tested it right now because I wanted to be sure this was the way to do it. I'll give you a quick overview, more in depth of how I soldered it. I figured I'll also give you a quick demo of how it goes just with music. I'm gonna have to use my radio since I'm using my iPhone. I can't put on my own music. All right, so I actually took it around the block. I had the lenses off and everything, and just got to keep turning it on and off, try to get them all lined up where they need to be. But my speedo wasn't working, and my RPMs weren't working either. And everything was off a little bit from the markings I had that you probably saw. So I had to just kind of turn it on and off, drive it around the block, play with it until it all got fixed up. But this is how mine's looking right now. But I would just definitely recommend, if you have to, have the lenses off, have the fork with you to pop off. As you're driving, turn it on and off, see where the zeros are, put them there. If they're still off a little bit, pop them back off, drive it around. It's literally just a process of going back and forth between each one. And then hopefully you'll be lined up where they need to be at. So right now I'm just gonna go ahead and start putting everything back together. I'll also do a quick test fit, and this is how I'm gonna route it. So I have the box back here along with the Bluetooth. I'm hoping it doesn't hit this box. I might actually try and see if I can get this to go underneath here. So basically how I told you I was gonna route it is how it went. I didn't end up moving it behind where the AC is. It's sitting behind the, if you have a radio cover, sitting behind there because it's not deep at all. So I got it all wired up now. As you can see right now, it's just going off because of my voice, because that's what I have the setting on right now. But I'll go ahead and leave everything in the description. Everything that I used, the brand that I used, everything like that, I'll go ahead and turn on for y'all too. Right now, I can't show y'all the different settings that it has, everything like that, because I have to use my phone. And clearly I'm using it right now to take this video, but this is basically it. I just figured I wanted to put it out there because I could never find any information on how to do just even a regular RGB cluster, and on top of that for like an OBS truck. So let me know what y'all think about the cluster. I really like the fact that I could switch it from, I really was gonna do white LEDs, but then I was like, you know what, screw it. Might as well just do RGB in case I feel like having the rainbow one day or something like that. Also, shout out JST. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. All right, well, I'll catch up with y'all soon. Take care. Peace.